formal definition of a limit is a little unusual relative to the kinds of definitions you've probably seen before. So before we get into those details, I want to take a look at a more non-technical explanation, what we would call a heuristic definition, that's based just on thinking about the geometry. Right. Then in the next lecture, we'll get into some of the more technical details. So here's the general idea. For a number to be the limit of a function at a specific x value, all the points close to the x value on the x-axis have to be mapped by the function to values near the limit value on the y-axis. In other words, points that are close together on the x-axis stay close together on the y-axis. And we write that using this notation here. And the way I would read this would be the limit of f of x as x approaches a is L. Okay, so let's look at some examples that illustrate what's going on here. I have three functions here, and for each one, the limit as x approaches 1 is 2. Now, the first thing I want you to notice is that one of them, the right-hand one, isn't even defined at x equals 1. And that's okay. That isn't a requirement for the limit to exist. The second thing I want you to notice is that the middle one is defined at 1, but the value of the function at that point isn't 2. That's also okay. All right, so let's start by looking at the first one in a little more detail. So let's say we pick a point close to 1, say x equals 0.9, and look at the corresponding y value. We get something that's really close to 2. And if we do the same thing on the other side, say with x equals 1.1, its corresponding y value, is also close to 2. Now, in this case, if we look directly at x equals 1 itself, yeah, okay, the pattern continues. In fact, the corresponding y value isn't just close to 2, it actually is 2. But if you go back and listen to what I said at the very beginning, all I said was that the x values close to x have to be close to the limit. The fact that f of 1 was also close to the limit is nice, but it isn't a requirement. All right, so to see why this is significant, let's take a look at that second graph. So with this situation, we get the same result from picking points close to x equals 1, like the two we picked on the previous graph. However, if we pick the actual value x equals 1, the value we get is nowhere near the limit, and that's okay. This is why I've said I don't care about f of 1 in the title of the slide. For purposes of determining the limit, all we care about is what's going around x equals 1, not what's actually happening at x equals 1. Okay, so in the remaining slides here, I want to look at several examples. Right, we'll look at these both geometrically, looking at the graphs of the functions, and we'll do some numeric analysis, right, to kind of see what's going on with these functions and how we can get a handle on what these limits are. So I've got a limit here first to look at. The limit as x approaches 1 of x squared minus 4x plus 3 over x minus 1. And I want to approach this numerically this time. Right, so let's just put some x values in, right? And I'm going to pick x values close to 1, right? So let's say I start with 1.1. If I put that into the function, I get negative 1.9. All right, so how about 1.01? If I put that in, I get negative 1.99. Let's go one more, right? If we put 1.001, we get negative 1.999. Negative 1.9 is close to 2. Negative 1.99 is even closer. Negative 1.999 is closer still. All right, now let's look at the other side. Suppose I pick some x values that are slightly smaller than x equals 1, like 0.9, 0.99, and so on. If I put those into the function, I get these numbers. Negative 2.1, negative 2.01, negative 2.001. Again, they're getting steadily closer to negative 2 on both sides. And this is going to be an important point down the road when we get into that technical definition. both sides have to be going to the same number. And that's what I see here. Right? I see that both of these values seem to be getting closer and closer to -2. So that's what I'm going to say the limit is. All right, so let's take a look at this one. And let's go back to thinking about this geometrically. The limit as x approaches c, excuse me, the limit of c as x approaches a, where c is a constant. Right? C is just a number. Okay, well, let's graph this. The graph of y equals c is a horizontal line. Right? And let's say x equals a is down here somewhere on the x-axis. I can pick any point, not even necessarily one close to a at this point, but let's pick something close to a. That point gets mapped to y equals c. Every point does. Every point gets mapped under that same y value, so that's going to be my limit. Right? Every point that's close to a gets mapped to a point not just close to c, but literally is c. Right? So that's going to be the limit of a constant. Okay, so let's try one more here. And this one is going to be a little different from the previous one, so just kind of brace yourselves. Let's put these numbers in. Right? If I do the numbers that are close to 0 on the right, those are the positive ones, I get 1 all 3 times. It's 0.1 divided by 0.1, 0.01 divided by 0.01, and so on. Okay, so it's looking good for 1, right? It's looking good for 1. But let's try the negatives. If I put the negatives in, oh, I get -1. Right? Because the absolute value makes the negative number positive, so the top of the fraction is positive, but the bottom is still negative. So we're getting negative numbers here. Okay, so this is a problem. If you were to graph this, let's go to the geometric side. If you were to graph this, it would look like this. Yeah, hopefully you see where there's a problem here. There is no value on the y-axis that every value close to 0 on both sides gets mapped to, because the function's split. Right? It's split into 2 very disjoint pieces here. So what can I say about this limit? Well, in this case, the limit actually doesn't exist. Okay, and I picked this example for a reason. I didn't want you to walk away from this with the idea that being undefined at a point somehow what was universally not a problem. Okay, there are going to be situations where the limit doesn't exist, like the one we've got here. Okay, so hopefully at this point you've kind of got a feel for what we mean when we talk about the limit of a function. Right, so in the next lecture, we're going to take a look at that formal definition, and we'll see how that kind of takes what we've talked about here and makes that word closer, which up until now I've been a little vague about. Right, we'll see how we can be a lot more precise about what it means for things to be close on the x-axis versus close on the y-axis.